All right, so let's recap things here. We're going to talk about getting our bum against that wall, why we do that, and why it's hard for the CNS to allow us to do that, and what we can do when we can do that. So, while we're working bum to the wall, that's one of the main way I teach handstands, and the reason for that being, it forces you not to cheat. And what does cheating means when we start a handstands journey? It means that we are trying to get to that wall, and we forget that why we have the wall in the first place is for us to teach, to learn alignment. So one of the caveats we fall into when one of the pitfalls we fall into when we start a handstand journey is to touch that wall and to think that everything is fine. It's not. So we are touching that wall, reaching for that wall because we want our pelvis to travel over the shoulders, and that's what a handstand is. So in order for us to learn to do that properly, we're going to force ourselves to touch that wall with the bum, because the moment the bum touches the wall, then we know for sure that the bum is aligned over the shoulders and the shoulders are aligned over the hands. Merely touching that wall with your foot doesn't say anything about your alignment. And so even before we go back to, because there's nothing wrong with it, but before we go back to some form of a shape where the foot rests against the wall, I want us to practice again and again and again, bum to the wall. Now, why is this hard? Well, there is a form of commitment here, and the nervous system sometimes freaks out, absolutely freaks out with the idea of getting a bum all the way back there. And that's normal because so far we were comfortable just reaching away with this back foot and never kind of committing the bum over the shoulders, which is what feels dodgy. So we were doing something like this and extending that hip to reach for that wall. Again, what matters for us to be able to use our handstands and one day to be able to do them without the wall is for us to align the pelvis over the hands. So see, if I go for that wall, trying to land softly on my fragile wall with my bum first, in that position here, there's no way I can cheat as far as the alignment of my shoulders, my pelvis, and my hands is concerned. And I want this line to be existing in my handstands. Pelvis over shoulders, shoulders over hands. If I was one foot against the wall, that would be fine as well if I knew for sure where my pelvis was in space, which is something that's not to be taken for granted when we begin. What usually happens is that we compromise the angle around the shoulders and the pelvis is not quite over the shoulders. Therefore, you are very likely to fall because you're not quite aligned. Now, it is quite possible that our brain doesn't want us to get quite there just yet. So if you're one of the people who struggle with landing that bum against the wall, we just have to show the way to your brain. We just have to make it gradual. It's just too soon to bring your bum all the way there. So what we're going to do is try to land one foot first. And remember that as long as you cannot land one foot against the wall, there is virtually no way you can land your bum against the wall. So first thing first. If you can land your foot against the wall, but you cannot land your bum against the wall, what we're gonna do is get used to bringing our bum to the wall once our foot has landed first, just to show our brain that there is not such a big difference between resting one foot against the wall and resting bum to the wall. So we're gonna kick up, land one foot first, then bring the bum down and swap the foot with the bum. So there's one foot against the wall, the bum goes against the wall and takes over the foot that can go off the wall. So I go by to my Y shape where I have one leg out, the one that's against the wall, one leg in, the one that's 45 degrees out, and my trunk in between, as if my legs were the branches of a Y, the Y letter, and my trunk was the trunk of it. It goes like this. I kick up against the wall, and I have to take a few seconds here just to realize that this is a safe position, the one I've been exploring so many times before. From here and trying to minimize all the parasite movements in my body and trying to lock my knees, I'm gonna try to bring my bum towards that window or that wall. If this is hard already, you don't want to rush it. You may feel that your shoulders want to collapse forward. Refuse to do that. Just take the time. It might take a few days or a few weeks for you to be able to bring that bum on that wall. Once you can do that, again, you're gonna rest here for a few seconds, and then take the foot that was on the wall off that wall. And now again, we're gonna bring the foot back on the wall, push against it to find our Y alignment again, and come back down. As you get better and better, you just want to reduce the time between landing the first foot and getting into position. So we're gonna still use that foot landing first as a clutch towards being bum against the wall. But the more we reduce the time between the landing and the positioning, the better. So that eventually the brain will know how to get there automatically without having to go through landing the foot first. So as I get more comfortable, I'm gonna try to go foot and bum and swap and stop. Stay a few seconds every time again to feel what this position, which we're gonna call home, feels like. And then maybe from here, you still need to put that heel back to come back down. Or maybe we can just lower the legs and use that weight to feel that this is enough for us to come back down. Now last bit, as you keep practicing this, try now to land bum on the bum against that wall. So we're gonna leave our feet a bit this way, 45 degrees out of the wall, and try to stick that bum just like you had to do when you were reaching for that wall as early as possible so that you land bum first. But again, because you gently took your brain all the way to a point where this is not scary anymore, it should happen naturally. Give it time and make it smart.